When I'm starting a piece, I usually have some idea in my head where I think it would like to go, but as it develops, I really have a conversation with the wood. Sometimes I find something in the wood which surprises me and I work on that. It's like working on a piece of jazz music. You have a theme and you think you know where you're going, but you don't always end up where you thought you were going, but it's always an interesting conversation and journey. This is one of my favorite tools, which is an angle grinder. And that blade on it is like a chainsaw blade. Those are very sharp and they spin at about 5,000 RPM and they just chew up a lot of wood in a hurry. Change the blade to that, which is a grindstone, and that makes it smooth. And then I go to sanding discs like this. I take this to a fine sanding so that I end up with a piece of wood like this, which is as smooth as a baby's bottom. And I encourage people to actually fondle my sculptures. I don't put a do not touch sign, I put a please fondle sign on them instead, because they're lovely to touch and feel. I'm a global artist because my influences are from around the world. I've been inspired by the carvings and the wood I've seen in Papua New Guinea when I was there. I'm working on a piece now which was inspired by a piece that I saw in Japan on a recent trip, and the wood sculptures of Japan are incredible. The trees and the natural surroundings where I grew up in British Columbia have inspired me. Works in Venice and in Florence. My pieces have an organic feel to them, natural shapes that come out of the natural colors and textures and grain and feeling of the wood that I'm working with. The spiritual component of my work is, if anything, it's more Buddhist or animism. The pieces speak to me very much when I'm doing them. That's the conversation I have with them when I'm creating them. When they're done, I'm frequently surprised at what I've created when I step back. It's not really what I expected to get when I started, but there it is. And usually that happens after a period of time. I've created it, I put it up on the mantelpiece or in the room, and then I start to see what I've done. First time I've tried a multiple piece with 4 pieces of wood bolted together. It was inspired by a piece I saw in the National Art Gallery in Japan. And the 4 pieces of wood were salvaged from a construction site where they were shoring. They're Douglas fir. And it's just coming along fine. I'm not sure what it's going to end up looking like, but I'm getting some idea now. I'm Peter Lattey. I'm a wood sculptor and I live in Los Angeles.